Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Full Force News Burst Live with me, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80, brought to you by General Joe's REBORN.com. Hope you're all doing very well on this Monday, very busy Monday in the world of G.I. Joe today. Lots kicking off. We've got leaked images again of classified bits and bobs. We've got a HasLab update with another unlock. Brilliant. I mean, the patches is the main thing, but and then, and then of course there's a few other bits and pieces drizzled in there as well for you guys. But yes, we are looking at a bunch of new kind of like classified bits and bobs. One new one sort of different color one, and then a full one. So yeah, we'll get to all of that in a second. Yeah, hope everyone's doing well. Lots of people in the chat already. Hello, hope you've had a good Monday so far. And yeah, let's get stuck into it because we've got things to talk about. Let's do it. Oh, you mean this guy right here? You talking this guy right here, Sarge? Yeah, very nice. Yes, I did, Paul. Yes, and Chris G. Yeah, also, I should say, while we're on at the moment, the Stinger is available on Entertainment Earth, I believe, and you can get 10% off as well. I'm not sure if, well, I know the ATKM Toy Kind of Mood have got a 10% off Entertainment Earth. I wonder if it is that they were talking about. But anyway, Entertainment Earth and the Stinger, go for it. Stygian said, I grabbed a Stinger on sale from EE. Nice one. Mark says, what's occurring? Time for bed here. Sorry, mate. Yeah, we're just talking about a couple of leaked images and, of course, the HasLab update. But before we get into any of that, let's start by just saying you can pre-order now the Battle Action Force Treasury Editions. Now, on August the 18th, which was yesterday, the early bird pre-order for the 33% kind of situation off ran out. But if you are thinking, oh, I wish I'd got in on that, and now it's a little bit too expensive to kind of get involved with, they are still doing an ever so slight money off scenario with 25% off still. So you can, if you haven't got involved in this, you can still get involved and pre-order right this minute, link in the description, for the 3 treasury editions for Battle Action Force. We spoke to Brian about this on Friday, I think it was. And obviously, if you want any more information regarding the books and the treasury editions, go check out that interview I did with Brian on Friday. After this show, of course. I got charged for my Stinger today from Hasbro, says Derek. Yeah, I think the Stingers are coming out, aren't they? Which is great. We hit the patches in a week, and it took over 2 more weeks to get the Gunner. Yes, Scott, exactly, Scott. So it's clear what people really want, isn't it? People want the patches. Just kidding. Anyway, so that is the Battle Action Force reprints, the official reprints from Total Toy Books, Rebellion, and of course Skeletron, and of course Hasbro as well. So this is something that you want to get involved in, definitely. And like I said, if you missed out on the early bird, have no fear. There's like a late bird option still that you can get into. Right then, let's move onwards and upwards to the first thing to discuss, and that is the HasLab Rattler Gunner, the Cobra Rattler Gunner, to give him his full name, or the Turret Gunner as a role. It unlocked at 14,000 orders. I felt like it had been taking its time to just about get there, but it had been moving. And what is interesting is that it doesn't feel like it, but this one has been funding like on a faster, more kind of higher rate somehow than the His Tank and Dragonfly, which is crazy. I just saw there was a graphic done at the different points during the campaign, and yeah, the Rattler's kind of like already kind of surpassing it, a lot of it, which doesn't feel that way, does it? And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you've got that almost like, because it was like, oh, it was the action figures kind of tiers, wasn't it? And with the Rattler, you've got that one less. maybe that feels like it's paying. It's like it's got some sort of thing going on there, but it's weird to see the numbers and to see that the Rattlers kind of like just ever so slightly outpacing everything. So anyway, um, rather intriguing. But that is because I wouldn't have expected that. If you just said to me, "What's been the most rapid, you know, HasLab?" I'd have just assumed it was the His tank because I felt like that was we were talking like 24 hours, if that. Excuse me. We were talking like well, we were talking less than that, weren't we? To actual funding, it was like it was a few hours basically, or whatever. It was 7, 8 hours. I can't remember exactly what it was. Um, Oh, same exact pace as the Dragonfly still. Yeah. Yes, it was the Brian Brink charts. Yes, Jeffrey, it was. But it was interesting to see that. Like I wasn't, I don't know. It felt like it was slow out of the, slower anyway. Um, yeah, they spread the tiers out weirdly for this campaign. Instead of increases of 3k each, they did 2 to 3 to 4. I don't know if that makes it feel different. I think that could be what it is, Bad Wolf. Definitely the spacing of the unlock kind of tiers, definitely. Um, Yeah, some people don't yeah, some people do not like the, hidden tiers, and some people like seeing it all at once, and some people like kind of being surprised, and or at least that might go somewhat to seeing those kind of things happen, but it was only the Hiss and the Dragonfly had hidden tiers, didn't they? Um, More days in the campaign than Dragonfly this time too. Yes, that's very true, Paul, actually. Anyway, I think the Rattler being a Cobra vehicle and also being a very iconic vehicle has a lot to do with it, of course. And I think people definitely want that pilot Baroness as well. Yeah, I think a lot of people have mentioned that. So looks like we're on course. Pun intended, I guess. But that is the unlock. Yes, 14,000. We are currently, I think, at 14,050 something last time I checked, which was just before we went live. But I can check it now. Uh, get off. I hate that. I hate that thing that pops up when it asks you what location you're in. It's like every time. Why does it come up every time? 14,053 backers. So not bad. Not bad. Um, yeah, it's. I mean, 21 days. I think we're all right. I think we're going to make it. I don't know when she'll unlock, but I'm almost certain she will. So yeah, I have no fear that we'll reach 18,000 orders, and I have no fear that we'll probably surpass that to some degree. In any case, all very exciting. Next up, then, and we got a couple of images actually kind of broke throughout the day. I was sent a number of these, and every time it was like, oh, this, that, this, that. So I've broken it down this way. First off, Nathan Camazel, although he was a bit later in the day posting this one, posted this like what is effectively a test shot, I guess, of Nemesis Immortal. Looks phenomenal. Feet look cool. All the little bits and bobs, the secondaries and everything look amazing. He looks huge. Cool head sculpt. The wings obviously look pretty neat too. The only odd thing that they've got in there is the fact that he's holding, Darklon's weapon. He doesn't come with that weapon, obviously. I think it's just a way of showing the scale of not just the figure, but of the massive weapon that Darklon's going to come with. 44D2 says it'll go way over 18,000 despite what all the whiners are saying. I mean, that's pretty much par for the course, isn't it? Like every HasLab that's happened. This one was okay. So his tank had it was like the complaining of the elements, like the additional kind of like weapon systems being in the tiers. That was the main one for his tank, wasn't it? So that was the Hiss tank sort of like catch that everyone was kind of like annoyed with. And then they go and drop a retro Cobra Commander and it was like all was forgiven. But I think that really set them up nicely in terms of feedback in basically offering the weapon systems and all of those kind of elements to the vehicle and the base offering. And that's what we got for the Dragonfly. And the Dragonfly issue, the main Dragonfly issue that people had was Glenda. and that one was the big problem of the Dragonfly campaign. There was an element of not knowing who Glenda was. There was an element of the confusion as to why she was repaint of Scarlet, basically, and we hadn't had Scarlet yet, which to me was crazy because it didn't take much critical thinking to know that was a pre-paint of Scarlet. So I was really confused about that. It was like, and I know we did know Scarlet was coming at that point, but at the same time, it was like, So yeah, I think there was a lot of a mixture of that, and then obviously a lot of people kind of not really knowing the character or what was going on with it or what significance she had. Um, so yeah, I and that seems to have changed a little bit. I've seen people turn, 180 on Glenda after seeing the figure. Um, in hand, like the kind of like the unboxing they did, and then seeing the figure like a SDCC. So I think, yeah, I think she is probably winning some people over. Not everybody. I think some people aren't big fans of her, but again, that was the major sticking point with the Dragonfly. I don't think anything else really was an issue. And then this time for the Rattler, there was always going to be something, wasn't there? Always. And if it wasn't the patches, which it was, let's face it, the patches were the main issue. Then it would have been, if you take that away, put another figure in, then it probably would have been the Rattler Gunner being too generic, or there'd have been something. There'd have been some issue. Um, I've seen some people complain that there aren't enough damage panels, like the original had more than one, as opposed to just the one that the HasLab comes with. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. Um, but yes. Either way, there's always something, is what I'm getting at. There's always something. It doesn't matter what it is. There's going to be something that isn't as cool or as high up as the rest of it, and sometimes that gets like covered by other things, and sometimes it doesn't actually make any difference at all. In this case, it's doesn't also seems to be making very little difference. I think there's an element of like people probably thinking, oh, it's taking ages to get to this, it's taking ages to get that. There's 21 days left. Like, it's a long time, really is. Cheers. So anyway, enough of that. Moving on. Nemesis Immortal looks pretty phenomenal, chonky, huge, brilliant. Can't wait to see this one. Again, kind of more of it, because obviously we've seen the box, we've seen them reveal the actual figure in box during the Stinger unboxing, and I would say it's likely we see this one at gross sucking noises. Yeah, I mean, I'm literally it was just a drink. We'll see this one at PulseCon, basically. What is my final prediction number for the HasLab, says White? I'm thinking between 25 to 27. Yeah, probably. I will say 20. I'll say a very conservative 20. 20. Well, break 25. I think. Um. Anyway, that is Nemesis Immortal, courtesy of Nathan Camazel. Now, next up, I'm going to not foreshadow really, but I'm going to, preface the new item with a couple of items we've already seen for the Frag Viper. The Cestra and the backpack have already been seen, of course. And then we have this. So this was posted by Shaw Liú today, and is of the Frag Viper head sculpt, it would appear, with a little port for the little hose on the kind of tip of the mouth there, basically at the bottom, and of course the big bug eyes, and nice kind of like ridge down the middle of the head, like a little mohawk. A couple more details on there that probably you don't really necessarily see on the original, and of course the kind of like faceplate kind of grate sort of situation on the mouth there as well. Yeah. Lightfoot says, I think some of the backlash on the HasLabs is akin to a toddler crying and not eating their dinner when they don't like it. They come with rarities you probably weren't going to get otherwise. Yeah, totally. I always like the Frag Viper, says Jay. Yeah, they're cool. And I think this, when we see this one finally, we've seen bits and pieces of the Frag Viper. We've obviously seen the helmet now, the Cesta, the backpack. I can imagine when it's all put together, it's going to look pretty dope, and all decoed up as well. That's what I'm excited about. Anyway, yeah, that's the Frag Viper, and kind of almost like, I suppose, is hinting that there will be that hose going from the mouth port to the backpack. Yeah, it does go to the backpack, doesn't it, on the Frag Viper? I think. But yeah, I would imagine. And just looking at the backpack, yeah, it might do. It's hard to tell like what little bits could be ports, but some things are hidden, and you never know, do you, basically, on that one. But there you go. That's the Frag Viper helmet that also popped out today to say hello. Now, the next item I wanted to kind of chat to you guys about. This is going to be a very quick episode, by the way. I know you're not used to this. You're used to me drawing it out and just going on and on and on. But yeah, this isn't going to be a long one tonight. Is there some way we can all chip in and get this guy a phone with a better camera? His pics feel like 2000s. Justin, that is the case for every leaked image ever. They use potatoes for sure. Hey Chris, glad you're on. This kind of long but wanted to share. So back at SDCC, after talking to the team and others, it kind of was hinted a fourth tier might happen if, and this is the big if, the tiers unlocked quickly, like the Hiss tank did. It was even asked if they did another figure with no new tooling, would people be okay? And I said I think people would be okay with it, but since this is trending like the Dragonfly in the last 48 hours, we get Baroness. I don't think Hasbro adds anything. I think that's. I mean, that is a good bit of insight there, Eben. Thank you. I would have assumed that anyway. Like if they had absolutely rinsed it and it had already reached the Baroness, there would have been a lot of time where we're going, anything else? So I think, yeah, that, and obviously the fact that it's churning the cash like crazy pants. Yeah, I could see that. If we end up with a good chunk of time left, I could see them having something in the back pocket that they post up there. But I could also see them, yeah, if it's right up to the wire, I could see them, yeah, doing exactly that and just not bothering, and it goes the way it goes. Yeah, I would imagine that when these images are taken, by the way, coming back to the potato cam for this image, I think a lot of it is down to the fact that they don't have much time to take pictures. They just take what they can. They sneak a little shot here and there. They might even take them a lot further away and then zoom in. I could see that being the case as well, because that obviously is another like another element to it, is the quality can be diminished when you take a picture from far away and then obviously zoom in on it. Am I going to fund the Rattler for this HasLab, Benny? What do you mean? I have gone in on it, yes. Reissue someone from Cobra Island, says SCS Dog. That'd be kind of interesting. What Cobra Island figures are you still struggling to get? That is a genuine question. I'm interested to know which ones are the hardest ones at the moment, because I got very lucky with the Cobra Island releases. Very fortunate. Showing some disdain for a tier we don't want will be used for all future HasLabs, so the same mistake won't happen. That's a good point, Todd. Yeah. Again, it's all feedback, isn't it? And I think they're going to look at the HasLab after this, and they're going to go, right, what really was a bad idea? Probably that. I think if they did a live stream at some point, all of the tiers would get smashed toot sweet. Very possibly, Jamie Lynn. Very possibly. The Viper is the one that you're struggling with there, SCS Dog. Yeah, that again, got really lucky with the Viper a couple of times. And yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any that I really struggled with, but no, I got really lucky. I even got two beachheads with one with the different eye colors, the blue and the brown, I think it was. Surprise tier 4 reveal, more patches, says Ben. That would be amazing. Major Blood, Bad Wolf Media is a good shout. Yep, absolutely. Plot twist, Lenny is actually Shaw Liú and is just trying to gauge everyone's reactions to the leaks. I like that, Justin, but that's not the case. Blood is the only one who hasn't been reissued or redone, I think. Yeah, I think that's true, Scott. I think it is. Then yeah, the next one will have no patches and 2 tiers. Could you imagine that? If that's the feedback they get from that, not if that's what they gauge from the feedback. They don't like patches, so we'll just take the tiers out and we'll just put figures in instead. They get 1 figure. Anyway, yes. So that is the Frag Viper head, and still talking about HasLab as well, of course, and patches. So, and as well as the Frag Viper, we also got another image on the left, the red one with the straps, of this intriguing and mysterious oxygen tank. Well, it is an oxygen tank, isn't it? It's a self-contained breathing apparatus, or SCBA, and is utilized obviously by fire departments and so on and so forth. Now, the reason I kind of make that very clear is because I look one up and it is like identical down to the straps and the little pipe going out. Everything is very much taken from the SCBA that you get with firefighters. And this is really interesting because, of course, we've got Blowtorch coming right now. Blowtorch is a flamethrower trooper. He's not a firefighter. I wonder, and I'm just throwing this out there because I don't actually know. This is speculative. I wonder if they're going to do some sort of thing with Blowtorch where he is both a flamethrower trooper and a firefighter, sort of making a, maybe he gets a double option. Maybe he gets this and he gets like something more akin to what Blowtorch has said. Say aluminum. Von, it's aluminium for me. Is that what you want me to say? Aluminium? There you go. So it could be that. The other thing, which is, I think it's a very legitimate point that I've seen a lot of people make, is that we do have 60th or legacy listings in for 2025 that are unknown at the moment. It's very possible that one of those could be a firefighter, is it not? And we could be seeing something very similar to what we're seeing on screen at the moment. So I'm thinking there's a possibility, one, that one of those 60th or legacy listings could be a firefighter, and thus we have this firefighting SCBA, or self-contained breathing apparatus, or both of these things could exist at the same time, as we know. It could also be utilized with Blowtorch, who's coming very soon, and Blowtorch could have a number of different options. Like, I know he's not like a proper, what's the word? He's not like a deluxe figure where Blowtorch, he's a retail figure. So it would be, if they did do that, I mean, he might end up with a lot of gear. But we've had Doc, he's come with a lot of gear and a blooming, stretcher. So I think, if that was the case, I wouldn't be surprised to see Blowtorch get it and maybe a possible firefighter sort of thing. Because obviously we've seen kind of, you have to see these patterns, don't you? These patterns emerge where you get things like Torpedo and the diver. You get, and then you'll get accessories that come with the action soldier that are pre-uses for, like, Mardus, for example. And then when you look at the fact we had ripcord and the parachute and all that kind of stuff, we have the 60th Halo jumper. So I look at all of this and you kind of go, okay, well, let's look at the broad picture. We have a Blowtorch coming out who is flame or fire adjacent, flame trooper, firefighter. You could easily make him a bit of like a combination, because also Blowtorch is like that sort of Geneva Convention grey area. Like, it's fine that Torch exists and the incinerators and what have you, because they're bad guys. But to have a Joe who is like breaking the Geneva Convention is a little bit. Anyway, that said, it could it could very simply be a case. It could simply be a case of they're doing a couple of different things with blowtorch. Hell, one option that you might or might not like is they may turn him into a firefighter so that he can kind of team up with barbecue. In which case, I don't know how that would go down. But I kind of feel like he needs the actual the flamethrower. I feel like he needs that with they need to reutilize Torch's flame effects. It makes sense. So I'm sure they're going to do blowtorch as well, or by by trade as a flame trooper, flamethrower trooper. What I'm kind of getting at is looking at this and trying to unravel the mystery of what we could be looking at here. A few people have said airtight because of the 30th 4-inch version. And did they do that with SCBA? No, SCBA is a use that is I literally got the information for an SCBA on the firefighting website. Took that image from it, Renegade. It can be used in 2 different scenarios. That is an SCBA. That's what it's described as, that you're looking at on the right-hand side. Just because there's an underwater version for divers doesn't mean that that isn't something that. Oh, are you trying to say that it could be used for like a Navy SEAL kind of 60th? Is that what you're saying? Because yeah, again, that's another good option. Like possibly, or some sort of underwater figure. Absolutely. Flamethrowers don't violate the Geneva Convention, just FYI. They're not legal to use against civilian targets. That's got to be the case for all weapons, Bad Wolf Media, not just flamethrowers, right? I thought flamethrowers were actually banned. I thought that was a thing. I've got to get the information, definitely. Flamethrowers military history. And I'm going to read the entire military history of the flamethrower. First deployed by the Byzantine Empire in the 7th century AD. Wow. Wow. Okay. Firefighters use AFFF on their backpacks. I literally got this from a literal website for firefighters. It was the firefighters website, 100%. They haven't been used. That's probably more likely then. Maybe they don't actually. Maybe it's not because of the Geneva Convention. Maybe they just don't use them then in that case. Anyway, it's all semantics. Well, it's not semantics. It's all details at this point. But effectively, what we're looking at, if I'm not mistaken, on the left-hand side, looks almost identical to the thing we're looking at on the right-hand side, right? And that is a firefighter. Because again, I got that information from the firefighters website. I'm going to find it again. Firefighter. Yep. Firefighter SCBA. Yeah. It's what I'm saying is not incorrect, guys. It may also be referred to as an AFFF, an AFFFF, but I'm literally looking at firefighter specific SCBA. Anyway, I have stretched this out somehow when all I wanted to say was that little point about could we look at the image is all I'm saying. It's identical. I'm assuming there's a possibility we could have a flamethrower, a firefighter is all I'm getting at. And like adjacent to that is blowtorch. So I wonder if we're going to get them reutilized or if it's going to be one or the other or, whatever. Anyway. This wouldn't be a diver because there is no buoyancy. The tank wouldn't be upside down and without regulators. Thank you, Seth. So I'm sticking to my. This is probably a firefighter's thing. Is what I'm sticking to. Oh, Bad Wolf Media says AFFF is the foam system. That tank is absolutely an oxy tank. I used to work in sales service for the Mako brand. Thank you, Bad Wolf Media. Let me just say, says Stygian, I hope it's not for Blowtorch. And it's a high possibility it isn't. And like I said, based on the fact that you see these patterns emerge, and we have 260th, legacy listings floating around with nothing on them, it's a possibility, is all I'm saying. And the fact that it looks identical means that it's very likely either a firefighter or fire adjacent character. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna say on that one. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, and also I'm thinking this might also hint at some sort of firefighter scenario. But again, this Halligan where kind of like tool on the right hand side could be something that you see Blowtorch using anyway, or having. So Blowtorch could have that, or what's the word? That 60th firefighter, if that exists. Kurt airtight Schnur, yeah, absolutely. We mentioned airtight. A few people calling airtight on the canister and everything. Yeah, because again, that does look very similar as well on the 30th figure. Absolutely. Was it Renegades? It was Renegades, wasn't it, Brian King? Same period of time though. But you're right, it was a Renegades airtight. Blowtorch still has to breathe. Yes, he does. RKW. Yes, he does. Jeffrey says, if they're doing a firefighter, I hope they do a high voltage worker too. That would be sick. That'd be amazing. Fire in the disco, says Leon. Bad Wolf Media says that Halligan is 100% a firefighter tool. I think that more than anything leans toward the 60th anniversary thing. Yeah, well, 2 items now is all I'm saying that lean heavily to a firefighter. Will the legacy theme stay with military or branch out in first responder type fields? Well, if this is anything to go by, well, it could. This is the thing. It could be military firefighter, couldn't it? You could get those. There was one in the back in the day that was really cool. It was one of the Navy firefighters. What are they called? I forget what they're called, but they come in. They wear that kind of like very highly reflective gear, like almost like chrome, kind of like reflective safety gear, and that would be great if it, because they did one of those for. Well, it was the 12-inch line. It wasn't way back in the day. It was, I think they did it in like, I want to say they did it in like the 2000s or the late 90s. Firefighter. Yo Joe's a good place for this because they do a lot of those kind of random sort of scenarios. Now there was obviously the G.I. Joe Firefighter action pack, which I don't think that's going to be redone, based on the fact that it is just literally a backpack that shoots water. That'd be cool, actually, if they did some sort of water shooting mechanism. Not on that, obviously, because it's an oxygen tank. But in addition to, if they did do that. Oh, is it? No, that's not what I'm looking for. I will find it. Someone will probably say in the Crash Crew. Thank you. It's the Crash Crew I was thinking of. Sorry, I looked down for a bit and then I just saw like a ton of people had said it. So yeah, thank you, Rogue K21, Crash Crew KT21. Sorry, that was what I was thinking. The Crash Crew. Yeah, because they're really cool looking. I mean, I should have put an image on the screen of the Crash Crew, because if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to look for it now. Crash Crew. Why can't I? Well, I can. I just fat fingers. Crash Crew. Yo Joe. Here we go. Here he is. Oh, maybe it was back in the day. 66. There was a Crash Crew in 66. I thought it was way after. Oh, it's because one did come out later on. So there's a Crash Crew kind of like costume, basically. And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's all shiny. And okay, yeah, brilliant. As soon as Yojo does not like anything happening. So there's that one. And then also there was a one later on, wasn't there? There was a box set. Um, there was, it wasn't these. It was definitely another Crash Crew. Was it version 2? I'm going to find this, and we're going to stay here forever. I'm going to put G.I. Joe Navy Crash Crew, because that's effectively what I'm looking at there. That was what I was talking about. Yeah, this was the one I'm thinking of. This was a little bit later on in the years, but you've got a really cool getup, an axe, of course, an oxygen tank, all the good stuff. A little kind of like fire extinguisher. Yeah, the Navy Crash Crew, and that's the GI Joe one. Again, I think that was, I don't remember the year. Maybe it says on here somewhere. Does it say the year? Help me, anything? No, doesn't say, which is annoying. Anyway, that is what I was thinking of. And 2001, there we go, finally. Yeah, 2001. So it was obviously later in the line. In terms of the whole, yeah, thank you, Rogue. All of the gear and all of the stuff that they come with and everything is pretty cool. So I think there's, there's a possibility. I tell you what, if it was Navy Crash Crew, I'd be stoked. That would be a cool friggin' thing to do. But yeah, it could very well. Someone mentioned it earlier. It could be civilian firefighter. It could, because they've done, like I said, they've done that as well back in the day. Yeah, I think, yeah, should be pretty fun. I'm excited to see what they come up with. Anyway, that is that. So we've got our nice green 2024 screen. Excuse me, with just Starduster and Nemesis Immortal on there, ready to be released to the masses. I would imagine around PulseCon. Well, obviously Starduster, Nemesis Immortal. I would imagine around PulseCon as well. Dragonfly accessory team and 60th, thinking of reuse. Absolutely, Flaffle. That would be really cool. Yeah, it would be a Crash Crew would be pretty cool for the Dragonfly team, wouldn't it? I think it would be pretty. It would make some sense too. I had Cobra Ground / Crash Crew pegged as a likely tier, if that's what this is. Squee. Yeah. Anyway, that's 2024, and of course, no real changes here. I've updated the graphics, so Trent Pet and Angelica, which was a 60th edition listing wise, are now in red, because until we know who they are. But like I said, they're your two legacy RR listings, Tommy and Angelica. I think it's highly possible that one of them could be Firefighter, based on what we're seeing at the moment in terms of leaked images and stuff. But yeah, I guess we'll, at some point, it does leak out what those 60th figures are going to be. They kind of leaked really early last year, didn't they? It was Action Pilot and Action Marine, and we had a bit more information about that, obviously, that came out close to the time. But the fact that yeah, completely forgotten what I was talking about. But yeah, but the fact that we, they were right. It was an Action Pilot by name and an Action Marine by name, means that was early as well. That was like a lot of months early. So possibly even like just under a year we had that information, didn't we? I'm sure we did. Anyway, it was known for ages, and so I would imagine that it won't be too long before, if we're going to start seeing classified parts and prototype pieces and leaks again, the way we have been seeing them, then I could imagine that we'll may even be able to work out exactly what we are getting for those two listings. Anyway, that is that. I'll finish off on these, of course. Gross. Name only reveals what we know so far. I'm in the current process of working on a Let's Talk Classified Heavy Duty. I'm excited to do that one. Although and then I saw how many figures Heavy Duty has that I just didn't realize. I did not dawn on me just how many figures Heavy Duty has, and he has a few, quite a few. And then of course we'll switch over. We'll probably do Mindbender. Then we'll go back and do Law and Order. Then we'll do the Vipers, which I'm terrified because there's so many Viper versions. And then probably we'll look at retro version 1 rock and roll, and all of the versions of that particular version, not all of rock and roll's versions, because we've had rock and roll already in the classified series, if that makes sense. Yeah, cool. Right, so that's that. Then we've got the digital renders that we are aware of so far: Dialtone, Leatherneck, Saw Viper, Clawwood Trooper, and Xandar. Hopefully we'll get a few more in PulseCon and 1027 and what have you. And I'm interviewing Lenny and Tony on the Thursday the 29th, so in like 10 days, right? Yeah, about 10 days time I will be interviewing the legends that are Tony and Lenny and Tony, and hopefully, I'm really hopeful that we can squeeze out a cheeky name only reveal. Might not be able to, but I'm gonna risk it. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, that is, I think, everything for tonight. I will bring it to a close there. Guys, thank you for joining me, for chatting, all of the updates for the day. Just a quick recap. We had leaked images from Shaw Liú of the Frag Viper helmet and what that mystery oxygen tank could be, or SCBA, as I've been calling it. And of course, Nathan Camazel posted a very cool test shot of Nemesis Immortal, almost in full, I believe, holding Darklon's gun. And on top of that, the HasLab unlocked the Rattler gunner at 14,000 orders. Let's go Baroness. And then, of course, finally, I did mention a couple of other things. The Stinger is in stock on Entertainment Earth, and you can get about 10% off, I think. I'm not sure if it's still in stock, but you can give it a try. And on top of that, the Battle Action Force Treasury editions are still available for pre-order. And even though the early bird offer of 33% off the whole thing is not anymore, there is a 25% off offer now, currently. And obviously more information on that, link in the description. Go nuts. Right then, that's everything. Oh, and the Sarge is here. Hi, Sarge. That's it. I will see you guys on whatever the next one is going to be. I don't know what that may be. It's going to be news related, I'd imagine, this week. And I will see you another time. Stay fresh, cheese bags. And as always, after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3. Full force. Slaters. Oh, I did the wrong thing. So how about now? That's it for this instalment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, full force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on X, formerly Twitter, @The Full Force, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Full Force. We've also added a brand new Instagram, so check us out there as well, @The Full Force Podcast, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.